Deep beneath the sun-baked sands of Egypt, secrets whisper. For millennia, they've waited, buried in tombs whispered about only in myth. But the wind is changing, the sands shift. Now the ancient guardians are restless. This isn't just another dig. This is a descent into the unknown. Each unearthed treasure, each whisper from the past, cracks open a door to a civilization that defied time itself. Forget the pharaohs and pyramids. We're about to dive into the underbelly of Egypt's history. The forbidden rituals, the whispered conspiracies, and the lives and deaths of ordinary people have been lost to the ages. Gold-wrapped mummy. Egypt has archaeologists who have found a tomb that hasn't been opened in 4,300 years. It was found 50 feet below ground with 3 other tombs in a burial ground in Egypt, close to Cairo. A sarcophagus is a tomb that has been carved with important words or pictures. They are usually found in tombs. The coffin wasn't buried in the ground. It was put in a big room instead. Rich people and the leaders of the country were often buried in sarcophagi. The sides of these sarcophagi were carved with pictures and writings about their lives in the future. Non-royal people have been found in this dig. This means that the people found were not pharaohs, princes, or princesses. 2 people were found at the spot. One kept secrets, and the other was a priest. Archaeologists think that a number of important Egyptians who were not royal family members lived there. Gold was found on one of the mummies, which means the person who died was likely wealthy and important. It's possible that this is one of the oldest tombs for someone who wasn't a king or queen that has ever been found in Egypt. A man named Miri had a very important job. He kept secrets. His tomb was one of them. This meant he was very important to the royal family and could perform important religious ceremonies. Khnum-Jidef was another person that was found there. He was a monk, an inspector, and a high boss. This meant that he was both a priest and a guardian of the nobles, who were powerful people in ancient Egypt. One of the other tombs is thought to belong to a writer named Fetek. The huge number of figures in his tomb gives historians hope that they can learn a lot about ancient Egyptian society from it. Ali Abu Deshish, a member of the team, said that the find is very important because it links the kings to the people who lived nearby. Not only the pharaohs were important and powerful, but also other people. There was no one there to open the tomb in more than 4,000 years when the gold-covered body was found inside it. Zahi Hawass, an archaeologist, said he thinks the finds are from between 2500 and 2300 BC. The place where these findings were made was used as a graveyard for 3,000 years, which means thousands of people were buried there. The site has more than just these tombs. It also has mounds, animal graves, and early Christian churches, ancient workshops, and priest tombs. Egypt's Saqqara necropolis, which is south of Cairo, has seen new findings by archaeologists. 2 businesses for preserving people and animals, as well as the remains of 2 priests, were found. We found 2 big workshops, one for humans and then used in mummifying animals, while the second workshop is for humans only. We also found beds, mummification tools, and materials. Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities head, Mustafa Waziri, said, "During the excavation, we also found a tomb that belonged to Ni-Hesep-Ba. He was a priest who worked in the 5th dynasty of the Old Kingdom, 4,500 years ago." Egypt has recently shown off a series of important historical finds. The findings have been a big part of Egypt's efforts to bring back its important tourist business. Mohammed Youssef, director of the Saqqara archaeological site, said, "This is the first time we found embalming workshops connected to temples. All the previous embalming workshops were connected to Apis in Memphis. This is a very important discovery to have found embalming workshops here in Saqqara." The site head also said, "We found many statues that represent the masterpieces of art in the Old Kingdom and date back 4,500 years. We also found artifacts and pieces from the New Kingdom that date back 3,300 years, as well as jewelry and other accessories. We also found cheese that the Egyptians had made and stored in clay jars, which they would then put behind the dead. Egypt wants 30 million tourists a year by 2028. That's more than the 13 million that came before the COVID-19 outbreak." The long-awaited opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum at the base of the pyramids in Giza is the final glory of the government's plan. Traces of ancient cities and royal structures. In Egypt, an old tomb that is thought to be more than 4,000 years old was found. A group of Egyptian and Japanese researchers working in Saqqara discovered tombs, building parts, and other items during their journey. Aram Online reports that the finds include the body of a person buried with a painted mask and the grave of a small child. These are thought to be from the 2nd dynasty. A lot of people say the tomb is from between 2649 BC and 2150 BC. A coffin from the 18th dynasty with a well-preserved marble jar is one of the other items. Also found were tombs from the Ptolemaic period. It was also found 2 clay figures of the ancient Egyptian goddess Isis, who was often used in funerals, and the child god Harpocrates, who was the Ptolemaic-era god of silence and secrets. Aran says that the treasure trove also included different amulets, clay models, and ostraca, which are broken pieces of pottery with hieratic writing on them. The Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities wrote on Facebook, "The joint Egyptian-Japanese archaeological mission between the Supreme Council of Archaeology and Waseda University has succeeded in uncovering a rock tomb from the Second Dynasty, as well as a number of architectural elements, burials, and archaeological finds in the Saqqara region. An Egyptian-Japanese mission under the direction of Waseda University and the Supreme Council of Antiquities has so far recorded and documented all archaeological finds this season. The mission was successful in finding a rock tomb from Dynasty II, as well as other architectural features, burials, and archaeological finds at the Saqqara archaeological site. The team kept records and wrote up information about all the historical finds made during their work season. Nozomu Kawai, leader of the Japanese team, told Aram that the find reveals important facts about the history of this area. The Secretary General of the SKA, Mustafa Waziri, said, "The artifacts and burials that have been found give us a glimpse into the lives of the people who lived in this ancient civilization." The hieroglyph-covered sarcophagus. It has been in a grave room for thousands of years without being touched. Now, an amazing Egyptian coffin has been found deep in the sands near Cairo. Archaeologists are very excited about it and call it a dream discovery of the highest order. The huge granite tomb is full of writings honoring Ta-Nwiya, who was in charge of King Ramses' finances and was Egypt's most powerful king. A retired professor of history at Cairo University named Ola El Agwizi found it in Saqqara, an ancient cemetery 20 miles south of Cairo. El Agwizi, who is in charge of the research project at the site, found Ta-Nwiya's surface-level tomb last year. Now that she has found his tomb and coffin, she may be able to learn more about the people who ran Egypt after Tutankhamun. El Agwizi's team saw the top of a vertical shaft in the middle of the tomb's courtyard. This looked like a way to get to a burial room, but that hole was 8 meters deep, and it took a week to remove all the sand with a bucket connected to a rope winch that was worked by hand. Then El Agwizi squished herself into that bucket and slowly and dangerously went down the shaft. She was shocked to find the coffin at the bottom. It is very rare to find a full coffin in its original tomb. El Agwizi told The Observer, "It was very exciting to find this sarcophagus in its original place in the burial shaft because it is the sarcophagus of the tomb owner, which doesn't happen very often. The sarcophagus is sometimes for a different person from a later time when the tomb was used, but that's not going to happen this time." She said that Ta-Nwiya's titles written in hieroglyphs show how close he was to the king and that he played a very important role in the administration of that time. She also said that the coffin has pictures of gods on it, including the sky goddess Nut on the lid, whose wings are spread out to protect the body. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed this exploration and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the wonders of our world.